Good afternoon, all. I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting of the Boston Art Commission. My name is Alexander Paul Zotov, and I'm the Public Art Registrar in the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture. I'm also the Administrator of the Boston Art Commission. Let's just take a moment to update our names and pronouns, as well as to make sure we are all muted. In accordance with the Commonwealth Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting virtually. As a reminder, this has been extended through 2025 and beyond. To ensure public access to the deliberations of the Art Commission, the public can join this meeting through telephone and video conferencing. For those of you with us today, the meeting is being recorded with closed captioning available, which you can access at the bottom of your screen. If you're having trouble locating this button, please chat us for assistance.
Thank you, Paul, and thanks everyone for being here. We're so grateful for your flexibility with this meeting, not on our usual Tuesday, but we are happy to get here. The Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture and the Art Commission believe that public art is any artwork installed in publicly accessible spaces where they can be experienced by everyone for free. For transparency and community input, artworks proposed for City of Boston property are reviewed and discussed at public meetings of the Art Commission on a regular, usually monthly basis. Working together with the public art team in the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture, the Boston Art Commission is an independent board composed of 2 ex officio and 7 volunteer community members appointed by the mayor. The BAC has exclusive authority to approve and commission artworks intended to be added to the city's collection or placed on public city property. The public art team in MOAC facilitates the Boston Art Commission public meetings, manages all phases, daily operations, and duties related to public art projects cited on or proposed for city property in collaboration with the Art Commission community members, colleagues at the City of Boston. Helping to facilitate this meeting are Amber Torres, Public Art Project Manager, and Alexander Paul Zotov, Public Art Registrar. We'll put an email in the chat for you in case you want to ask us any questions. And here you see the rest of our team, including our consultants. And I will pass to Chair Andres.
Thanks, Karen, and welcome everybody. Thanks for being here. I call this public meeting to order at 4:40. Today, the Commission is holding its monthly public meeting, and our meetings are generally held on the second Tuesday of each month. I know we have a slight change of plan this week, but we hope you'll continue to join us. At the BAC, we engage in discussions about public art in Boston in order to foster the creation and collection of artworks that reflect the people, ideas, histories, and futures of Boston, which is located on the traditional homeland of the Massachusetts people and the neighboring Wampanoag and Nipmuc peoples. We acknowledge the atrocities committed against Indigenous peoples, all of the communities that have been subsequently harmed, and the ways in which colonialism has created systemic oppression. We recognize the continuing presence of these communities and the Indigenous peoples represented in the city's residents, in addition to those in the diaspora. We also recognize that Boston exists as a result of the forced labor and economic extraction from enslaved African Americans. I'll now take roll call of the commissioners to confirm a quorum, and commissioners, after I state your name, please say here. I begin with Vice Chair James Mason.
Here.
Diana Fernandez-Bibo.
Present.
Brian Hone.
Here.
Nigel Jacobs.
Here.
And Abigail Norman.
Here.
Great. Thank you so much. We have a quorum, so we'll continue. On this slide, you'll see today's agenda, which is also posted publicly on the city's website, boston.gov. And now we'll take a few minutes to review November's meeting minutes. Commissioners, are there any comments or modifications that you would like to make to those minutes?
I'll just say I was not able to access those minutes, so I'm going to abstain from the vote.
Okay, thanks, Abigail. Would any commissioner like to make a motion to approve the November meeting minutes?
You can make a motion to approve the December 10th Boston Art Commission meeting minutes.
Thanks so much, Brian. And do I hear a second?
Yes, I second.
Thanks, James. Commissioners, after I say your name, please say yes if you agree with the motion. James?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Nigel?
Yes.
And Abigail, you had already shared your abstaining. I'm a yes as well, so the motion passes. And now I'll turn to Karen Goodfellow. She'll highlight the presentations for public review tonight and also give her director's report.
Thank you, John. We have 5 presentations for review tonight. The first one we have up is Be the Change. And these are temporary artworks that are being considered for final design at City Hall Plaza. And the artists are Lamerchi Fraser, Jordan Hendrickson, Sarah Myers-Brent, Charlie Dovshan, Ben Sloat, and Karen Tabb. And the proponent is Molly Silver from the Jewish Arts Collaborative. And then we have some projects from the Public Art Triennial, which will be presented by Leo Crowley. We have Black Forest, which is a long-term artwork, and that's here for final design. And that is for Lowe's Family Park in Dorchester by artist Akene Ichioma. We also have, I Think a Monument Goes Like This, which is a temporary artwork as part of the Boston Public Art Triennial, as well as Unmonument, which is being presented for final design for Evans Way Park in the Fenway. And that's by artist Nicholas Gallinen. We have Matters of Consequence, a temporary artwork, also part of the Triennial, here for final design at Hunt Almond Park in Mattapan by artist Lan Toussaint. And we have Sibyl Sisters, a temporary artwork for the Triennial for final design at the Central Library in Back Bay by the artist Swoon. And we have just a few updates for you before we get started on the presentations. The city hosted a community open house at Josiah Quincy Upper School in Chinatown on Saturday, March 1st to share design ideas for the Phillips Square and reconnection Chinatown planning. Senior Public Art Project Manager Birgit Worster met with community members to provide updates on Wendy Sen's workers' statues in Chinatown and hear from the community regarding the 4 proposed project sites. Project managers Amber Torres and Birgit Worster visited with City Hall Plaza Revolving Sculpture Program artist Ria Vedro at her studio to observe the fabrication process for Amulet. The sculpture base and lighting designs are being finalized and the sculpture is scheduled to be installed this spring. Last month, our project managers attended site visits at the Vine Street BCF with local Vine installers, SpeedPro to obtain updated field measurements needed for the final design graphic file, and we're working with David Hinton on an installation schedule that works for community with a target installation date this spring. We also have updates on a few other projects. Project manager Amber Torres and Birgit Worster stopped by Adams Street Library last month to take measurements of the fence and planter area as the artist Priscilla De Carvalho prepares for final design. For the Ruggles Corridor Public Art Project, artist Jenny Sabin and project manager Amber Torres were invited by residents from the Madison Park community last month to share project updates. Jenny is now preparing to present to the PIC, the Public Improvement Commission, later this spring and return to the commission to present the final design. DeWitt Playground at Madison Park Athletic Complex, Roxbury is moving forward with fabrication and installation plans. Studio Lewis Architects and Marlon Forrester anticipate presenting next month on image use approvals for the Mirror of History component of the project. Culture, Carter School artists Ro Conan, Maciel Gulian, Ernesto Naranjo, and Georgie Nakima presented their initial designs to school leadership and other members of the project team earlier this month. Artists will continue to develop their designs for preliminary design review and presentation. And the artists for the Copley Square Public Art Project have officially been announced on our website. Tori Fair, sculptor; Adam Frank, light artist; Jessica Grant, graphic designer; Danielle Legros-George, poet. I will note that we did recently lose Danielle Legros-George. And Diana Weissman, typographer, with special thanks to the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute, who began working with us closely this winter on a trauma-informed engagement strategy for the project announcement and preliminary design. The Louis D. Brown Peace Institute has been involved on the One Boston Resilience Project that informed the project since its inception. And for conservation work, the record digitization for the Boston Art Commission has been ongoing. All this work is being led by Paul Zotov. Microfilm has been shipped to become digitized while Archives is currently sorting through the paper files. We visited them on a field trip earlier this month and would certainly recommend anyone making the trip out to Rivermore in West Roxbury. It's a really fun place to go. I enjoyed finding childhood elementary school like cards in the old files. Citywide art collection conservation with spring upon us and very busy. Daedalus Conservation will begin working with this year's conservation treatment starting in April and will present an additional conservation initiative in June. Webster's reply to Hain, the George P.A. Healy painting at Faneuil Hall. Visitors are welcome to the Great Hall to drop in on conservation. Structural engineer will be on site to conduct exploratory wall work to support the reinstallation of the painting. This is underway. Public Art Registrar Paul Zota, Project Manager Birgit Worcester, and Property Management team are collaborating on this work. And with that, we have some more updates about the conservation work, but we are going to pass it to our colleague and collaborator at the Friends of the Public Garden, who used to work with us or worked here before me, Sarah Hutt, Collections Care Manager.
Thanks, Karen. Yes, my name is Sarah Hutt, and I'm representing the Friends of the Public Garden. The Friends is a longstanding group of citizens that live around the Boston Public Garden, the Boston Common, and Commonwealth Avenue Mall, and contribute to the care of those parks with working collaboration with the Parks Department. Not only on the monuments, but also on the trees and the landscaping and other things. So I'm going to talk to you today, just give you a little rundown on what we're doing this summer. You can go to the next slide. So we have 44 pieces of art in the 3 parks that I manage. This is my 17th year with the Friends of the Public Garden. And what we've done is my job was to establish a conservation program because there was not a consistent cleaning that really took place. So in 2010, the Henry Lee, at the time, the president set up a endowment with his wife called the Henry and Joan Lee Endowment for Sculpture. And over the last 3 years, I've had a set amount of money for the first time to be able to clean statues so that I can plan ahead and I know what I'm going to be doing. So each year I clean about 12 to 12 pieces. This year we'll be cleaning 10. Because so my budget is $100,000. Because of the array of statues we have in the park, some require a lot of money, others are less. So this year, we're cleaning the William Channing, and so that one will be more expensive because of the scaffolding and things we need. Next slide. So we're working with Josh Crane, and in the past we had other conservators that we worked with, but most of them have retired, and there really isn't a new crop coming up. In the 80s and 70s and 80s, we did a lot of work with conservators from the museums, but a lot of those people have left, and the museums have changed the way they work. And so we've relied on Daedalus completely. And we use the standard cleaning that you use throughout the city, which is that we put a patina on the paste, then there's an incralac coating. Over that is layers of wax. In the original agreement with the Parks Department, we were not going to clean the stone, we were only cleaning the bronze. But over time, we realized that the stone really wasn't getting taken care of. And one of the issues is that when graffiti's on stone, when the parks were using high-pressured water to blast off the color, what it was doing is really destroying the stone, leaving marks, shadows on the stone. And so we started to take it over, and now we clean the stone and repoint it and do all that as well as the bronze. Next. So this summer, we're going to be one of the ones we'll be cleaning will be the Ether Memorial. We have 2 pieces in the parks that are only stone with no bronze. This one is really interesting because it has 3 different kinds of stone on it. So it's luckily we have Josh to be able to really know how to deal with each of those and take care of it. And it's also with the fountains, they all are rather expensive to maintain. We have certain pieces that have certain issues that are that kind of take them out of the routine cleaning every 3 or 4 years. And that, like the Brewer Fountain, we have to do conservation work on this twice a year. In the spring, we clean it up and kind of after the winter and deal with any kind of damage or anything that's happened, because the water filling up and snow and rain and freezing, and it does damage to the bowls. And then in the fall, we clean it again and get it prepared for the winter. Another piece is the Soldiers and Sailors Monument on Flagstaff Hill. As with every place in the city, graffiti is rampant up there. It gets hit quite a bit. And in the pandemic, we used to clean it as needed. But we now do a washing once a month or as needed. And we found that by cleaning it consistently, we've kept the graffiti, it's been less invasive. People still eat up there and party up there, and so there's a need to keep it clean. Next. Another piece is the Women's Memorial. Because this piece is on the ground, we have, there's just a lot of graffiti, kind of, I wouldn't really call it vandalism, but it's, people decide to have a drink with the ladies and leave wine stains over on the stone and things like that. Dogs are the biggest problem. People bring their dogs up to look at the statues and then let them urinate on the stone or the dresses, which are mostly lower, large. Anyway, it's just a constant thing to take care of, and so we clean it yearly. So this is the Channing, which we will be doing this year. And so it's, this will be, let's see, the Channing is $25,000 to clean. And part of that cleaning cost has to do with the rental of the scaffolding. And so it'll be closed off for about a week while we do the cleaning of the bronze and repoint. And there we also, Josh has a laser cleaner for the stone to take care of all the kind of black guck that comes down from the trees because it kind of drips on them. And just in closing, just to say that, with our budget and with the constant cleaning, we're able to move the statue cleaning forward. So originally we would do maybe 3 or 4 statues at a time before the last 3 years, early in like the first 10 years. And we would, clean them less regularly. And now we're really looking forward to being able to do it more often. But if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Sarah, I don't have any questions, just a general thank you for your stewardship of the parks. This is the kind of work that often goes uncelebrated and is often not written about in newspapers and whatnot. So just thank you. These parks are incredible assets to the city and are always spick and span, throughout the whole year, which I think is a testament to your work. So just thank you and congrats on your exciting program.
Thank you.
Thanks
I
so, oh,
Also
go
have
ahead.
a question. Oh, sorry, John.
Go ahead,
I
Paul.
also just wanted to say thank you so much, Sarah. It's been such a pleasure to learn more about what the Friends are doing, and I look forward to seeing how this work continues in the years to come and all that you offer in terms of also my just learning and growth about the collection and how you take care of it.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for your presentation, Sarah. I really appreciate you taking the time to
Mhm.
come here and share this with us. And I, like Brian and Paul, really appreciate the work that you're doing. So thank you for that. And Karen, also thank you so much for your director's report. We'll now move on to the items on the agenda for review, public testimony, and commission vote. On this slide, you'll see how you can participate in today's meeting. If you have technical difficulties, you can ask questions in the chat and a member of staff will help you. And when public testimony is requested, you can either use the raise your hand icon and we'll call on you. If you're calling in, press *9. That will allow you to raise your hand. And at the suggestion of some of our previous attendees here at these meetings, we'll now take a few moments to take any questions surrounding public art, should you have any.
Richard Heath.
Hi, Richard, go ahead.
I'm very sorry. I can't find my hand, as it were.
Oh, that's okay.
I'd like to have an update of the Emancipation Group. There's three things that are on my mind. One is the stone base is still barren and vacant, and I know one idea from Equa Homes was to have some temporary art placed there, and maybe that's something that Triennial program can do. The second is the proposal for the statue to be relocated or loaned to Missouri, a town outside of St. Louis. And thirdly, Laxart in Los Angeles, the monuments exhibit, which is supposed to open in the fall. So I was wondering if there's any updates on those three parts of the Emancipation Group, which is 4.5 years now sitting in storage. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Karen, I'll pass that along to you. We've talked about it briefly a while ago, but
Yeah,
any updates you have would be helpful.
we do. Richard, thanks for asking. We are working still. As you know, we've been in conversation about the loan for the monuments exhibit, and so that is still going forward. We're finalizing plans with that, and we're looking forward to that. I will say that is a temporary loan, so we're still looking for solutions for after that, and we welcome from any community members suggestions for where we might site the Emancipation Group after that, where we can provide public access and provide context for it. We are also very excited because next month we'll be presenting some projects around monument, and a couple of the projects we're considering are on some thoughts around Emancipation Group and the plinth. So I'm hoping, Richard, that you can join us next month and share your thoughts when we have those to share.
Oh, thank you. What about Laxart, the monuments exhibit in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Is that still happening?
Yes.
When was that show open?
October? Paul, or it's December maybe?
Let me just confirm the date now. We are currently in the process of working on them with their loan agreement.
I'm sorry?
She's checking the date. We need to double check it.
Well, I'm just wondering, I mean, someone will have to box that up and ship it across the country. Is that the responsibility of Laxart? Yes,
and it will be under their insurance as well.
All right, thank you.
Yep, and the exhibit will open at the Mocha Geffen on October 23rd.
I'm sorry?
The exhibition is set to open on October 23rd, 2025.
Thank you very much. So you'll give us an update on how that
Yes.
piece of art will be shipped across country?
Yes.
That's never happened before in the history of the Art Commission. So I'm interested to see how that's going to be achieved.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank
Luckily,
you.
we were an excellent team of folks both in Los Angeles and here as well. So we're really, really looking forward to making sure that the artwork is in great care as on its journey, as well as when it comes to the museum.
Well, thank you. I hope you'll keep us posted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
I also see another question from Allison.
Yes, hi, Allison Polton is here. A process question, because on the agenda, it says that the public can submit written comments on the presentations, but how do the presentations get shared? I know from other commissions, sometimes a file will be posted with the agenda, but these presentations don't normally get shared ahead of the meeting, or was it just unique for today?
We normally don't share them ahead of the meeting. I'll be honest, sometimes we are finalizing things. We have looked into it before, but we do post the agenda in advance, and we do share the as soon as we have downloaded it. Well, processes.
You're breaking up. I just wondered about how people can
Sorry,
actually
Allison.
react to the presentations if they can't see them. It seems unusual. Thank you.
Well, Allison, I think for us, we do post the agenda for the meeting. So if there's a project that you are either in support of or maybe have concerns about, you could share written testimony even prior to the presentation, and emailing the address that was shared previously. And then in addition, the presentations may not be shared publicly, but that is why we host these meetings, so that you can see
Right.
these presentations from the collaborators and the artists and the people who are working to present these projects to the public. So the presentation may not be shared in advance, but this is an opportunity for you as a citizen of Boston to be able to hear these presentations, react to them, and voice your concerns or any questions that you might have during these meetings.
Okay, that's great. My concern today was I have to leave for another meeting, an in-person meeting tonight, so I can't participate. So if I did email yesterday, but didn't hear back from BAC about the presentation question, but this is recorded, so all the presentations will be part of the recording. And would you still take public comments after? Is that how it works?
Yeah, Allison, I'm sorry. I received your email, but didn't have a moment. We were checking in with our legal counsel regarding if we could share the presentation ahead of time. You're more than welcome to submit public testimony. In order for it to be discussed in this specific meeting, the public comment would have to be received the day before at noon. So anything your comment on, you'd be more than welcome to add it and submit it for public comment so that it could be up for discussion in April.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And
Thanks
I'll
so
just
much.
follow up at the end of this meeting with that link for you.
Thanks, Paul. And Funk Truck, I see your question. How is the BAC involved in the Boston Public Art Triennial? And later in this meeting, you will find out how, because Leo Crowley will present many projects on Boston public property that we will be reviewing and presenting. And the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture has also been supportive of and helped to usher in a lot of these projects working alongside the Boston Art Triennial. So stay tuned. In just a few minutes, you'll hear a lot more. But for now, let's move on to our next projects. As we move through these, I hope you'll remember to make this meeting a good experience for all. So when we do have a comment section, please keep them on topic, brief, and respectful of others. As we had discussed previously, written testimony can be sent to BAC at boston.gov. And if you're called on when we have a comment, please state your name, program, and organization if relevant. So our first project And first presentation for review will be introduced by Public Art Project Manager Amber Torres.
Thanks, John. Be the Change was recently on view at the Bowling Building, and the Jewish Arts Collaborative would like to bring the exhibition to City Hall next. They attended a site visit with Lisa Menino from Property Management on February 10th to identify a site for the artwork and are here today to share more about the project for your approval. At this time, I'll hand it over to Laura Mandel to present.
Thank you so much, Amber and commissioners. It's been a number of years since I've presented to all of you, and it's really just a pleasure to be here. As she said, I'm Laura Mandel. As of a few weeks ago, I was the executive director of the Jewish Arts Collaborative. Now, following a merger with the Beacon Hill-based Vilna Shul, I am actually the managing director of program strategy and impact at the Vilna Shul, just up the street from City Hall, just as important context. So we actually started this Be the Change show, which is a justice-inspired public art movement that uses sculpture to prompt conversations about really important and pressing social issues back in 2021. It was a vision in the wake of the murder of George Floyd that we felt that we needed to use our role as creators of experiences around art and with our background in Jewish values to think about how we could use this art to connect communities in new ways. So this Be the Change Boston 2025 show that you are looking at here on the right launched in the Fenway neighborhood in August. It was live there for 3 months. It was the third Be the Change Boston show. And as you can see from this, these boxes are about 8 feet tall, and they are based on the idea of a Jewish tzedakah box, which some of you may know is typically a small thing that we put change in to give charity. But the word tzedakah in Hebrew actually doesn't mean charity, it means justice. And so we're thinking about how we make a more just world by enabling people to engage with this art. Really practically, the show launched in Fenway, like I said. It's been at the Bowling Building for the past number of weeks. It's going to Chelsea City Hall later in the spring. And then we are really excited to be on this call tonight with the Triennial team because it's actually going to be in complement with the Triennial over the summer. So in terms of the artist selection, I am the lead curator behind this project. Our hope with each show is to consider a number of different things. First of all, we want to be working with what we define as artivists, those artists who are local and who see their work as a vehicle for social change, who have something really important to say, and who are using these boxes as a space, not just to lament a social issue, but to actually help us all engage with that issue and understand ways we might help make positive change in the world. We're really focused on community representation, really thinking about artists who represent diverse neighborhoods of the greater Boston area and Boston, so that we are thinking about different cultures and authentically representing many different voices. And because this is not only the third show in Boston, but actually the 6th Be the Change show that we've held nationally, we have a pretty impressive network of artists, including 16 artists across Boston who have not only become sort of part of the family, but who help recommend future artists. Next. Perfect. Thank you. So for this year, we have 6 artists. As you heard, we have a piece by Lamerchi Frazier called We Be Seen, which is all about visibility for all people. Some of you know, I know Lamerchi's already been referenced in this meeting, that she's all about using art to reference issues of racial equity. We have artist Ben Sloat, who is the head of visual arts out at Clark University, who's created a piece called Sparks of History, considering how we can look to the past to help inform a more just future. We have artist Karen Tabb, who you see on the photo here on the left, who has created a piece called Growing Empathy that is all about rooted in anti-Semitism, recognizing the incredible rise of anti-Semitism that has happened over the last year, and also acknowledging that anti-Semitism is not unique. It's one form of hate that is sort of connects us all when we think about it that way. We have a piece by Charlie Dove Schoen, who you see in the middle in a green sweater, called Collective Grief, considering the weight of what we are all grieving in the world today, even more so than when this show was even first created, and thinking about what it means to create spaces to hold that grief as a means to empower us all to move forward with positive acts of justice. We have artist Sarah Myers Brent, who I love to say sculpts with garbage and makes some really incredible upcycled pieces. So her piece, Swap Shop, not only incorporates recycled materials to think to the issue of environmentalism, but really to make us think about all the stuff we collect. And the piece is actually a swap shop where we're encouraging people to leave pieces or take pieces. So we really hope that this show is highly intentionally interactive. And last but not least, we have artist Jordan Hendrickson, who's here on the right, called Thinking About Change. He is an artist, animator, and educator who is using his piece to think about a more empathetic approach to the criminal justice system, recognizing the racial undertones within the criminal justice system and beyond, really make it a challenge for many of us, and that we really need to be able to talk about how we might consider a more empathetic approach. So we are looking at this space right outside of City Hall as this ideal and iconic space for this show, both because we are working with Boston Public Schools and many other partners in the area for whom this is a convenient location, and because as I look out at Faneuil Hall and City Hall and the landscape of Boston, it feels so important to us that we are thinking about these important fitting issues of justice in such an iconic location, and to really represent what Boston and what our city and community stands for in terms of justice. So as it was mentioned, we've been working with Lisa Menino in the city to make this happen. She's been fully supportive. And what I should mention is, as you've seen the pieces already, they are all fully complete. And we are simply looking at a 2-week run of this show before it heads off to other locations. So just for context, this is what the show looks like currently at the bowling building. It's the first time we've held it there. It's a partnership with the Boston Public Schools as a means to sort of train the trainers. So it's an opportunity for teachers to understand how to engage with some of these issues. And important to us is that not only is the art in the bowling building, but we've been working with the teachers to think about how they use this art to engage students, to build a curriculum and a pedagogy around the work, so that this moves from being some really beautiful works of art to actually a really incredible teaching tool that is touring, as I mentioned, across the better part of 12 months. So we'll be able to engage with a number of different school districts outside of Boston and beyond. Next slide, please. Thank you. So like I mentioned, community engagement is really important to this, and we've had teachers who've been advocates of this, which I think is just very telling. In terms of project timeline and schedule, we are hoping to install this tomorrow morning. I know this is a tight timeline, but like I said, the art is all ready. We have professional movers who have moved this to each space. Our intent is to bring it in first thing in the morning and have it set by the afternoon. And we've been working with Lisa Menino at City Hall to make sure that we have all of that settled. We'll be looking to de-install on Friday, April 4th, at which time it will be moving to Chelsea City Hall for a bit of our tour. And during the run of the show, we of course want to have engagements around the work. And so we'll be having open sort of tour times and office hours. I encourage you all to join me and our artists to experience this art, because I think it's really powerful when you can actually come to discuss the issues. That's really the power of this. And I should mention, we're going to be having other events throughout the run of the show, openings and community conversations, etc. But while it's at City Hall, these are very flexible, just open times to encourage people to come and experience the art with us. In terms of the fabrication, these boxes were actually created in partnership with Artists for Humanity. We were really proud to work with their design team and students. They are built out of heavy-duty outdoor plywood, so the bases are really stable. Each artist has enhanced their piece on top of that wood, but the basic parts are all the same. And we actually have sandbags to act as weights within each of the boxes so that when they are outdoors, they are properly weighted so that they won't blow away or move. So they're very stable. And these intentionally simple forms that you see here so that it's really a simple footprint for people to be able to walk around and for moving purposes. Next slide, great. And in terms of installation, we don't need any permits. We have permission from City Hall. We have proper insurance on the show. We have no special equipment for installation. Our movers just wheel them in on dollies. And like I said, they will move them in ideally and hopefully tomorrow morning and then out again on Friday, April 5th, in time for all of the many other exciting activities that are happening in the month of April in and around City Hall. In terms of signage and wayfinding, on the left here, you see an example of a vinyl sticker for wayfinding that we had used in the Fenway. These are sort of your standard vinyl ground covering stickers, so they are easy to remove, easy to lay down. It'll be very simple language just to explain to people what this show is and a QR code to point them to the website to go deeper so that they can hear from the artists directly and actually connect to some of these service organizations that are related to this work to help drive change. This piece you see in the middle is a sample of the signs that are in each of the pieces. So there are metal printed signs on each of the boxes that both give the title. And as you see here from this question, how can the complexities of the past provide understanding in the present? We are providing driving questions to help spur those big questions. And of course, again, you see the QR code and the project logos in case anybody wants to know who this is by. And last but not least, we have sandwich boards that we'll take in and out as we're on site just to give some extra visibility to people and to welcome them over to join us for tours. In terms of maintenance, like I said, this project really encourages people to engage and to touch. So this right here on the right is the swap shop piece by Sarah Myers-Brent that I mentioned. My daughter, who you see in this photo, really loves this piece because it's been a cool opportunity for her to literally just come and play and exchange things. But she is one of many, many kids, adults, and people of all ages that I've experienced being a part of this, which is just really heartwarming. In terms of, I know when things are interactive, it's a little nerve-wracking in terms of maintenance. So we will have staff on site at least 2 to 4 days a week to check the art. As I mentioned, I am right up the street now at the Vilna Shul, so it's an easy walk by, and our staff and Molly Silver, our project manager, who is also on the call, will be responsive for any issues. We are also in contact with Lisa Menino within City Hall. So if there's any need to communicate or coordinate anything around any problems or the like, there will be an easy line of communication. And last but not least, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you. And that's what I have.
Thanks so much, Laura. I now open it up to commissioners. If they have any questions or comments, feel free to ask them of Laura now.
This was fascinating as well as meaningful, but I have a question for you, John. So we're voting on, would we be voting on something, and what would that be?
We'd be voting on the final design of this temporary project. So do we approve to install this project on City Hall property?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay, you answered my question.
I have 2 questions, John.
Yeah, please, Abigail.
One is a follow-up on James. I recognize that this meeting was postponed from last week, but I'd like to put in a plea that we be given more than 1 day before a project opens in order to vote on it. I'm all for this project. I don't object, but I think that's not really fair to the commission or to the artist. The question that I have is for you, Laura, which is how can commissioners be able to learn about the events that are in Boston that are related to this project that you mentioned?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for starters, I'll make sure I have information up on our website. I've also told Paul that I'll share the dates of times when we have either those open tour hours with me or some of our artists, and I'll make sure that between us, those get to everyone. This show is being publicized on the Vilna Shoal website, and I actually will have, in addition to the events that are happening at City Hall, future events in the other tour locations that'll be online as well.
Thank you.
Any other commissioner questions?
And John, not a question here, but just a heads up that I'll have to recuse myself from this vote.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Laura, I did have one question. I know this has been installed in other locations. I believe you said there were sandbags in each of the boxes. In your experience, those have been effective in sort of maintaining the upright nature of the work,
Yeah.
meaning that people
Yes.
haven't necessarily approached them or knocked them down or anything. I worry slightly given that these will be outside. I'm not sure if they have been outside in a place that's like as busy as City Hall. So if you could speak to that a bit of your experience in past installations.
Absolutely. So we actually implemented the sandbags because we knew we wanted to be able to overshoot the weight to make them as safe as possible. They were out for 3 months in Fenway, and we did not have a single problem where it's a wind tunnel. There's a ton of people, thousands of people coming through for Sox games, and 0 problems that we experienced.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. I now open it up to any members of the public who may have a question or would like to make a comment. Hearing none, would a commissioner like to make a motion to approve final design of Be the Change?
I will make a motion for approved final design of Be the Change.
Thanks so much, James. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Diana. Commissioners, after I say your name, please say yes if you approve of the motion. James,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Brian, you mentioned that you were abstaining. Nigel,
Yes.
Abigail,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. And Abigail, I also feel that in the future, we will work to present projects prior to the day before they need to be installed. So thank you for your comment. That will definitely be taken under consideration in the future. But congratulations, Laura, the motion passes, and good luck with your installation tomorrow.
Thank you so much, all. I can't wait to tour all of you. I'll send out information.
And now I will pass it to Vice Chair Mason for the next project.
Good evening, all. So we are the next presentation for Black Forest, a long-term artwork, and it will be presented by Leo Crowley.
Yes, thank you, James. I appreciate that. And hello to all the commissioners. It's nice to be back with you again. We'll jump right in as we have some projects to get through. The first project is mentioned is Black Forest by Akene Ejioma. And this will be located in Reverend Loesch Park in Dorchester. Next slide, please. Kenny is an artist, researcher, and educator who currently lives and works in Brooklyn, but who has strong ties to Boston, having lived in Cambridge and worked at MIT for a number of years. His work is interested in social and political systems and how they unjustly affect different communities. Next slide, please. Kenny began Black Forest in 2022 as a way to highlight the disparate rates at which COVID-19 affected the Black population here in Boston and across the nation. Each iteration of Black Forest consisted of community tree planting ceremonies, with each tree serving as a memorial for a Black life lost to COVID. For the Boston Public Art Triennial, Kenny will continue this practice and expand upon it by incorporating a sculptural seating area, which will create space for gathering and reflection. Next slide, please. For this project, we worked closely with Speak for the Trees Boston, who many of you know, an organization that works with communities to advocate, plant, preserve, and care for trees. We also worked with the arborists at Hartney Graymont Tree Services, who work closely with the city, and with Todd Mister, Boston's Director of Urban Forestry. We were also in conversation with Friends of Loesch Park and Cynthia Loesch, who has been a longtime proponent and advocate for the maintenance and upkeep of the park. All of these partners were integral in selecting the best species of tree, the site location for the project, and ensuring that the project would be an asset to the neighborhood and the community. Up above, you can see a flyer on the right that was, oh, I'm sorry, we're not on the correct slide. Here we're looking at the, yeah, here we go. On the right, you can see the flyer that was posted on social media and handed out, in which the public was able to vote on the species of tree that would come to the park. And red maple was the winner there. Next slide, please. Here we see a rendering of the sculptural seating area that Akene designed. It's made of a steel lattice base, steel pipe supports, and polished New England fieldstones that will encircle the red maple tree. This design was created to adhere to ADA guidelines, and the steel surfaces will be painted with a protective coating. The diameter is 5 feet, and it is 2 feet 1 inches high from the ground, with a 1 foot 8 inch center aperture for the tree trunk. The depth of the lattice is 3 inches. Next slide, please. Here we see the location of the sculptural seating area that was selected with input from the experts that I mentioned and the Parks Department, as well as in conversation with Cynthia, the president of Bold Teens and a longtime advocate, as I mentioned. This location ensures the long-term health of the tree and is also respectful to the many ways that the community uses this, this location in this park. Next slide, please. This is a rendering of the tree in situ. Next slide, please. And now we are getting into the engineering. You can see above how the design is both structurally sound while also enabling the tree roots to grow uninhibited. You can see the tree ball there that will be beneath the base of the structure so that the trees can, the roots can continue to spread out. Next slide, please. Here we have additional technical drawings that show the base of the lattice work on the right, as well as a side view of the steel connectors, which will be detailed in the next slide. Next slide, please. Here we see the connectors at the bottom where the steel rods connect to the base, and then up above we see the stones where those will connect. We have additional details coming further on. Next slide, please. This is a top view of how the field stones will be arranged. Kenny's practice is really interesting. He uses algorithms to help him select the most not only aesthetically pleasing, but also structurally sound positioning for these stones. Next slide, please. And here we have the details of the connections. So on the left, we have the plate connection, and then to the right, you see the pipe to stone connection. I want to call out the fact that there's two connections being used here. So the mechanical connections, and this will prevent the stones from rotating. Next slide, please. Here we're looking at our timeline. We are in fabrication currently. We are in conversation with Speak for the Trees to finalize the tree plantings. The piece, sculptural piece, will ship from New York City to Boston in mid-April, and then we will install in late April. This installation and tree planting at Loesch Park will happen concurrently. And so the tree will be planted, the piece will come in segments that are placed around the tree and then connected. It will involve excavation, which will be overseen by Hartney Graymont, and BRM will oversee the installation of the sculptural piece. We will have fencing up to protect the public during the installation process. And the air knife that will be used, the equipment that will be used will be an air knife that will be brought in by Hartney Graymont. Next slide, please. The maintenance plan for this piece is going to be similar for the pieces that all the pieces that I discussed today. But we will have regular routine maintenance checks that will be conducted by the Triennial and BRM. We also have Speak for the Trees, who will help with their expertise to ensure the trees' health. And we will have Hartney Graymont on call in case we have any issues that we require their expertise. We also have an extreme damage protocol. In the event that there's any emergency damage that needs to be addressed, we will respond within 24 hours. Next slide, please. Accessibility considerations. The sculptural seating area was designed with ADA guidelines in mind in terms of seating height and bench depth. We'll have nearby signage that will be in English and Spanish, and also feature a audio description with a QR code available that will be indicated in Braille. The location was selected both for the soil health and tree viability, but also for its proximity to the walking posts and lamp posts to keep in mind community safety and accessibility. And this park is a 2-minute walk from the Chaumont stop on the Red Line and proximate to many bus routes. Next slide, please. Here we have mock-ups of the project signage that we plan to install on site. So this will have information about the Triennial as a whole, a project map, so people are aware of where all of the Triennial projects are, as well as didactic signage that explains Akene's practice and the project. Next slide, please. Community engagement for this piece, as I mentioned, we are in conversation with Cynthia Loesch Johnson and Bold Teens. They were instrumental in the site location and the selection of the tree. And we have partnered with Speak for the Trees, who will oversee tree planting ceremonies. In addition to the sculptural piece, there'll be 40 trees planted in the neighborhoods, each of which will be a commemoration of a life lost to COVID. These ceremonies will feature Black musicians, vocalists, and healing practitioners. Next slide, please. This is a letter of support provided by Cynthia, voicing her support for this project. And I can pause here for any questions concerning Akene's project.
And Leo, if I could just add a little bit of framing for this project, just so it's clear to the commissioners of all the Boston Public Art Triennial projects this year, Black Forest is the only long-term project proposal. And this form of generosity is unique compared to other triennials around the world and shows a special commitment to Boston, the triennial. As we review the final design of this artwork with the commission, we are specifically proposing to add the seating portion to the city's collection as the long-term work. And we'll work with the triennial to return to the BAC in the fall for sessioning. Just to add that context for you all.
So, Leo, and do any of the commissioners have any questions or comments?
I'd just like to comment that although we are just responsible for approving the bench, the seating, I want to say I really appreciate that tree planting is part of this, is the core and the substance of this project. I love that, and the celebrations with music are very exciting to me. Thank you.
I have a specific question around the finish for the stone being used as part of the artwork. Is that information, Leo, maybe I missed during your presentation?
Yeah, the finish for the stones will be natural. So they will be cut and the rods will be inserted into them, but they will be natural field stones that are selected from a New England quarry.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Any further questions from commissioners? If not, we'll open up to the general public. John, I'll turn it over to you now.
Thanks so much, James. Would any commissioner like to make a motion to approve the final design of Black Forest?
I make a motion to approve the final design of Black Forest.
Thanks so much, Abigail. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Diana. After I say your name, commissioners, please say yes if you support the motion. James,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Nigel,
Yes.
Abigail,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well, so the motion passes. Thanks so much, Leo. I know we'll be hearing more from you, but congratulations. Our next project for discussion will be introduced by Emily Rose Navarro.
Thank you. I'm happy to introduce I Think a Monument Goes Like This by artist Nicholas Gallahan. This temporary artwork is part of the Boston Public Triennial and on Monument. This is our second year supporting the Boston Public Art Triennial as part of the Monument Initiative, and we are grateful for their thoughtful consideration of monuments in Boston as part of their work for this year. Our team worked through some design changes with the Triennial and worked with the Parks Department to address issues concerning sorry, I'm like struggling to say this word, but excavation, that's probably pronouncing it wrong, but sorry about that, and tree root systems. And now I'm going to hand it over to Leo to present.
Thank you so much. Our next project is I Think a Monument Goes Like This by Nicholas Glenn, and this is this will be located in Evansway Park in the Fenway. Next slide, please. Nicholas is an Alaskan-based indigenous artist whose work seeks to redress the misappropriation of indigenous visual culture and the impacts of colonialism. You may have seen his recent piece, Celatega, at Art Basel in Miami. It was a submerged shipwreck that received a lot of attention and acclaim, so we're very excited to bring Nicholas's work to Boston. Next slide, please. For the Triennial, Nicholas has created a sculpture that features a bronze figure on a platform that is kneeling down as it attempts to gather and reassemble fragments of itself. Nicholas is an expert totem carver, and for this project, he used traditional techniques to carve wooden pieces, which were then sent to a foundry and cast in bronze. Next slide, please. Here we have a look at the dimensions of the piece. The sculpture that is over 8 feet tall on a 9-inch tall steel pedestal that has an 11-foot by 8-foot footprint. As I mentioned, the figure is cast in bronze, and it will have a green oxidized patina, as you can see in the image above. Next slide, please. This is an aerial view of the sculptural footprint, which illustrates its close proximity to the Mass Art Museum, Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, and SMFA at Tufts, all organizations that Triennial is partnering with in various fashions. Next slide, please. This is our site survey. As was mentioned, we wanted to be very mindful of the critical root structure. So you can see the existing trees in green and the distances from them. And we also wanted to make sure that the piece was situated for maximum viewing from the pedestrian paths that are nearby that you can see outlined in orange. Next slide, please. This is a process image that's showing how Nicholas assigns each of the pieces a number. And then while they're being cast, he envisions how they'll fit together, communicating that with the foundry, and then they're assembled in somewhat of a jigsaw puzzle fashion. Next slide, please. I'm sorry. This is another process shot. This is the molds that were made from the carved wood. They're made from silicon and then cast with bronze. Next slide, please. This is the second shot of the photo of the sculpture. Next slide, please. And here you see the internal structure. You can see how the internal armature is engineered to support the bronze figure, and then how it will connect to the internal steel beams on the pedestal below. Next slide, please. Here's our fabrication and installation timeline. Fabrication is just about set to wrap, and then in April it will ship from Two Raven Studio in Seattle to Boston, where we will install it the end of April, the beginning of May. Equipment needed for this will be a lull and fencing, so fencing will go up around the site, and then the lull will be used to lift the sculpture onto the pedestal and then attached. I should mention, the exhibition period for these pieces will be from May 22nd to October 31st, and then we deinstall in November. And we'll do some site remediation when we deinstall, and then go back in the spring to assess and make sure that the grass seed that we planted was successful. Next slide, please. So all of these projects will consist of the regular maintenance checks done by the Triennial and the BRM team, and then extreme damage protocols that are outlined. We're also in conversations with the nearby museums and Northeastern, who security team oversees the park. They will all receive contact trees so that they are able to get in touch with, should there be an issue. And Northeastern has told us that they'll be vigilant and let us know, as the area does have some graffiti issues. Next slide, please. So the sculpture is strategically placed to maximize the impact as viewed by the nearby pedestrian paths. We'll also have the signage that will be near the paths so that it can be viewed and be impactful from the paths, and that people can learn about the piece and learn about Nicholas's work. The signage, as we've mentioned before, will have the QR codes indicated in Braille for audio descriptions. And then Evans Way Park itself is a 5-minute walk from the Museum of Fine Arts and the Green Line and bus routes. Next slide, please. Another mock-up of the signage. Next slide, please. And as I said, we have partnered with the local museums, most specifically for this project. Mass Art Museum will host an exhibition of Nicholas's work in their gallery during the same period. So we'll be able to direct visitors from our exhibition to the exhibition in MAM, and vice versa. We are also in conversation with the Fenway Alliance, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, and Northeastern University Center for the Arts to develop programming and to cross-promote initiatives. In addition, I think, as many people know, the MFA is hosting Alan Michelson's The Knowledge Keepers, which is already on display and very powerful. I can pause here for questions regarding Nicholas's project.
Thanks so much, Leo. Commissioners, any questions? Comments? Leo, I just have to say, I know that this project had changed a bit from its first iteration, and I know that you were also having a lot of conversations with parks and just trying to make sure that the critical tree roots were protected. So I think where this project has ended up is really exciting. So congratulations. I know it wasn't easy to get to this point.
Thank you. It was a journey, but we want to make sure that we're respectful and mindful of these beautiful parks and how the public uses them. So it's always good to learn what's on parks' minds and hear their concerns so that we can make sure they're addressed.
One question I did have regarding this signage, will there just be one placard, two placards, just because people might be coming to it from different directions?
Yeah, so the the taller horizontal sign that you see will be two-faced, so it'll have information on both sides of it. I believe that I will have final signage to share with you all, if necessary, at a later date, for all the projects. But yeah,
I think that would be great if you could come and show us signage as well once you have all of that solidified.
Absolutely. Happy to come back.
Leo, thank you for your presentation. Excited for this project. I would just flag the graffiti comment that I think it's already on your radar, but Evans Way is a notorious graffiti haven. So just throwing that out there. But then also John for this project, I'll recuse myself from the vote too.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. That is an issue that we're aware of, mindful of how we'll be removing that from the sculpture without damaging the patina. But also I'm a little curious to see how artists in that space react to a piece of art and if they might be more respectful of it. We'll find out.
Any other commissioner comments or questions? I'll now open it up to members of the public. If you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, please feel free. I don't think we have any. Did someone have a question?
Can you hear me?
Hey, Aaron.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Yes, this is Erin Genia. I am the Indigenous Public Art and Cultural Spaces consultant. And in my role, as I'm learning about these different city processes, I'm wondering if you could share more about the budget for this project to bring in the piece during that time period.
The budget in total, the fabrication budget, the installation budget.
Hey, Aaron, I don't know if you're able to respond to Leo's question.
Interested in the budget itself, I guess, for this particular piece, bringing it in, installing it, having it fabricated.
Yeah, all of the triennial budgets have a range between $50,000 and $100,000 for the fabrication. And then the installation budgets are around $20,000 to $50,000.
Any other members of the public like to ask a question or make a comment? Well, hearing none, commissioners, would any of you like to make a motion to approve the final design of Nicholas Gallinan's installation?
I'll make a motion to approve the final design of Nicholas Gallen's sculptural installation.
Thanks, Abigail. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Diana. After I say your name, commissioners, please say yes if you agree with the motion. James?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Brian? Oh, you're recusing yourself. Yes, Brian. Sorry about that. Nigel?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. So the motion passes. Congrats again. And now, Leo, I will pass it to James, who will introduce you yet again.
Sorry, John, could we just have a pause for one moment?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hey, Leo, while we're paused, would either of you like to share the opening dates and run of the triennial, just so everyone on the call is aware?
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to jump in. And hi, everyone. I'm Kate Gilbert. I'm the executive director of the Boston Public Art Triennial, and we're super excited to be here. The triennial will be officially open at all sites. You know, we're working on having as many open as possible. It looks like that'll be between 16 and 20 by May 22nd, and that will run through October 31st. And all of the works are free and open to the public. There are like almost 100 related events with community partners that will run for that entire time.
Thanks, Kate. Paul, just let me know when I can continue.
Thanks, John. Sorry, I'm having a tech nightmare today. Great, we should be good to go. Thanks for your patience, everyone.
So our next presentation for review, matter of consequence, and I will turn it over to once again, Leo.
Thank you, Ken.
Leo, before you begin, I think Birgit wants to give it a little bit of context before you start. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you, John. Matters of Consequence by Law and Ozone is another triennial project being proposed to be located in Hunt Almont Park in Mattapan. The triennial has worked closely with the Parks Department, the Public Art Team, and the Disabilities Commission to address any design concerns. They have recently received final approval from the Parks Department, and they plan to make the project accessible to the public through an ADA compliant ramp. We will continue to be in close communication with Parks about the ramp design, project installation, and the site remediation when the project is removed. And I'm happy to pass it back to Leo and the triennial to present.
Thanks so much. Yes, our next project is Matters of Consequence by Law and Ozone, which will be located in Hunt Almont Park in Mattapan. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Lan is a Philippines-born, Chicago-based artist and an associate professor of sculpture at the School of Art Institute of Chicago. Her work incorporates architecture, artifacts, and anthropogenic materials, and she's very interested in sustainability and how we use materials. Next slide, please. Matters of Consequence is a sculptural piece that seeks to shift our understanding of materials and consumption. It evokes a Renaissance-era studiolo, alluding to the 15th century study and collection of objects that shaped relationships, which is reminiscent of present-day libraries and museums. Reimagined by Lan, this maximalist structure is a site for people to question their socio-ecological habits, supply chains, and consumption. The exteriors of this piece will feature recycled pressed plastics, and Lan is in an ongoing conversation with Mattapan Food and Fitness and the Urban Farming Institute to identify opportunities for partnership. Next slide, please. Here we see some process photos. To the left, you see a painting of a studiolo from the Renaissance era, and to the right, you see Lan's version of this. This is an early model that was made in response to that design, those designs from the 15th century. Next slide, please. This is a structural drawing that shows the dimensions of the piece. It's an 8-foot tall structure with a maximum length of 18 feet 7 inches and a 14-foot by 11-foot concrete pad. Here you can see that the design has changed. The original model has been amended to include an ADA compliant ramp. You can see that ramp is 6 inches tall, which means that it does not have to have a handrail in order to be ADA compliant. The materials for this piece are steel tubing, sheet pressed reclaimed plastic, steel sheeting, concrete, and bacteria bricks. Next slide, please. There you see the sculptural footprint from the aerial view in Hunt Almont. Next slide, please. And this is our site survey depicting the piece in light blue in relation to the pedestrian paths that you can see, and also the lampposts and nearby trees. Next slide, please. Here we have a rendering of the piece on site. You can see the ramp that we've mentioned that is pointing towards the nearest pedestrian path. As Birgit pointed out, we are in conversation with Parks to outline how that ramp will connect to the pedestrian path. We are currently evaluating ADA compliant surface materials, similar to those that you might see at the beach if you've ever seen the blue material that leads from boardwalks to the beach. Those will be reviewed, and we'll work closely with Parks to ensure that all of those concerns are met, and with the Disability Commission. Next slide, please. Here's a close-up of the structural drawings with the sheet press plastic. Next slide, please. This depicts the engineering, the schematics, and how they will interact with the grade. This site is a little bit sloped, and so we want to ensure that there's a flat footprint and that the piece will be level in order to be safe for the public to interact with. Next slide, please. And in this cross section, you can see that the cement pad will be 8 inches beneath the ground level, and then the piece will have a flat surface to sit on, and so that it remains level. Next slide, please. This is a top-down view of the engineering, how the various segments will connect to the concrete base. Next slide, please. And here we have a cross-section and in interior view, and you can see how the pressed plastics will interact with the steel tubing on the exterior. Next slide, please. And some additional engineering so that you can see the subterranean concrete base, how the ramp will slope down to meet and be flush with the ground surface, and then just how the subterranean meets with the base that you'll see above ground as well. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, there'll be use of bacteria brick pavers that will be on top of the concrete surface. And this is just a a depiction of how they will meet with the surface. Next slide, please. This is the BioLith tile, or the bacteria brick that I've mentioned. It's a precast concrete tile that uses biomaterials, very interesting substance, and also ties in with the thematic elements of Lon's work. Next slide, please. I've been mentioning sheet pressed plastics. You can see in this schematic here, the purple, the horizontal surfaces are those that will be covered in the sheet pressed plastic. Next slide, please. And here we have examples of what the sheet pressed plastic looks like. Again, this is drawing on the themes of consumptions and recyclables and the supply chain and how we use materials. Next slide, please. Lon's piece has just gone into fabrication, and it will be fabricated nearby in Boston. We're looking to install the concrete pad at Hunt Almont in early May. And then we are looking actually at the week prior to the opening for the installation of the sculptural element. Like the projects that we've talked about before, we will fence off the area in order to guarantee the public safety. The concrete pad will be poured from a truck that can be parked in the nearby parking lot, eliminating the need to navigate heavy equipment through the park. And then the sculpture will be installed on top of the pad. Next slide, please. As with our other projects, we will have routine maintenance checks and extreme damage protocols. Next slide, please. And as we mentioned, the ADA considerations for this piece, in addition to the traditional signage ones that we've discussed for the other projects, really involve that ramp and making sure that the platform is accessible to everybody, and also making sure that that ramp is connecting to the pedestrian path to ensure that all members of the public and the community are able to enjoy this piece. Next slide. We're familiar now with our signage mock-ups. And next slide, please. And as I've mentioned, Lon is in conversation with Mattapan Food and Fitness Coalition and the Urban Farming Institute to hold workshops and programs engaging their youth in the greater Mattapan community. The Triennial will also be hosting a youth and family programming at this location. And the artist is interested in multiple community events at this site that emphasize mutual aid, such as community recipe swaps at a farmer's market. And I will pause here for any questions that you might have concerning Lon's project.
Thanks so much, Leo. Go ahead, Brian.
Thank you, Leo, again. Just a question about like how would the average person kind of like interact with the piece? It sounds like there's the kind of intention of interactivity. Is that right?
Yeah, so I think there's multiple ways to interact with this piece, which I think makes it pretty exciting. The didactic signage will talk about some of the inspiration and some of the materials used, which I think can invite the public to come out and have a tactile interaction with some of those materials that may be unique to them. But also, I think we're imagining this as like a platform where local community groups can use it. It kind of has like a natural stage feel to it. And so I know our engagement team has been in conversation with many different community partners, and I think that there could be an invitation for them to use this as a stage. So there's that opportunity as well. And then I think that Lon is very interested in identifying ways that she can work with the community partners that I outlined to host them on site and see how their work can really dovetail with her interests as well. So I think that there's lots of different possibilities for this, and some of which are still being outlined. But I think that as a piece and as a sculpture, it can encourage that interaction on its own. But I think that as the project's on exhibition and people get accustomed to having it in their nearby park and neighborhood, our hope is that they'll identify uses for it as well.
Got it. Yeah, that's exciting. Kind of envisioning multiple ways. It sounds like one of my considerations is just that, you know, it kind of looks or could function as like a playground of sort, or could be interpreted kind of as something existing in the spirit of a playground. And just aware that like when we design something that looks like a playground, people often treat it like a playground. So one of our considerations at the commission is just durability that's appropriate to the lifespan of the project. Is just kind of one of the lenses that we think about, but it sounds like, you know, that's also a consideration for you and feel good about the durability of the piece itself.
Yeah, all of the engineering was done with the intention that at its weakest point, it can withstand a load of 280 pounds. So if anything, the pieces tend to be over-engineered to ensure that the public is safe, even if they use it in ways that it was not intended to be used. That being said, to your point about it looking like a playground and it being in a park right near a playground, we do have considerations for signage that may be engagement encouraged, please don't climb, something like that, that guides the public through the use of the object. I think that those will be nailed down in conversations with the BAC and with parks too.
Leo, that was going to be my question following up on Brian. If children do climb on this, which it looks so inviting as a climbing structure, it's, you know, these days we're used to climbing structures that have all kinds of safety guards. And of course, this doesn't include that. Do you have thoughts about that?
I think that, like I said, in the past, we have used signage that can be somewhat whimsical, but also direct to please interact with it, but please don't climb. So I think that this piece will be appropriate for that. I think that, you know, we also do have insurance for all of these pieces and liability, and so we will have a certificate of insurance to cover us for that. But our intention is to try to communicate to the public how the piece should be interacted with and hope that they're respectful of it. And then should people, as I mentioned, as people should choose to disregard that and use it in a way that was not intended, we have utmost confidence in the piece's ability to be structurally and to maintain its structural integrity.
Thank you. I was concerned about the people's structural integrity also. Thank you for your answer.
Any other commissioners? I'll now open it up to any members of the public who'd like to make a comment or ask a question.
Ken?
Aaron, did
Just
you have another comment?
Yeah, I just had a question. I was really enjoying this piece, thinking about the materiality of the work and its sort of in a sustainable vein, and it made me think about a question that I have regarding the triennial. Wondering if there have been any steps to understand sort of like a climate footprint of the triennial itself.
In terms of shipping the pieces here and materials used. I can speak to the
yeah, I think that or any consideration around like even programming or anything like that as well.
Yeah, I know that we will be doing an in-depth look at lots of different metrics for the triennial, and we're working with TDC in order to have a comprehensive report that considers the metrics for success for the triennial. I can also say that we have committed to using at least 50%, but we'll be well over that, local fabricators to minimize well, first of all, to boost the local economy and making sure that we're using fabricators and vendors who will be in the area and continue to contribute to the city in the years to come. So that minimizes the shipping on it. We also have an artist, Julian Charrier, who is a climate activist artist whose piece will interact with a plot of land in the rainforest, which he has dedicated some of his project budget to preserving. And so he's very much mindful of his carbon footprint and is actively including preservation in his project that he'll bring to the triennial.
Any other public comments, questions? Well, I turn it to you, commissioners. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the final design of matters of consequence?
I can make a motion to approve final design for matters of consequence.
Thanks, Brian. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, James. After I say your name, commissioners, please say yes if you agree with the motion. James?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes as well.
Nigel?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. Leo, I also know that this piece changed quite a bit, and I think it looks really fantastic, and I'm excited to see it installed. So congratulations. And for our final presentation tonight, I'll turn it once again to James. You there, James?
I am here. I'm just waiting for the slide to progress. Thank you. For our next presentation for review, Sibyl Sisters, I will turn it over to
I think it's Amber.
Oh, Amber. Oh, Amber.
Hi, thank you. So Sibyl Sisters by contemporary street artist Swoon is the last triennial project on the agenda tonight. The Central BPL has granted site approval and even signed an MOU with the triennial that outlines all installation requirements to prevent any unintended impacts that the structure might have on the planter. But I'll hand it back to the triennial to present on this project.
Thanks so much, Amber. Last one. Here we are at our last project, Sibilant Sisters by Swoon. As mentioned, it'll be located inside the Boston Public Library, the Central Library in Copley Square. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Caledonia Curry, known professionally as Swoon, is an acclaimed artist, filmmaker, and creator who is best known as one of the first women street artists to gain international recognition in a male-dominated field. Next slide, please. Swoon's work explores the depths of human complexity and questions the accepted narratives surrounding addiction. For the Triennial, Swoon has created a sculptural work that will be installed in the main atrium of the library above the planter in that space. This work builds on the story of her novella, Sibilant Sisters, a modern-day fairy tale about two sisters navigating a mysterious and sometimes spooky world full of magic and family drama. The piece features a house-like structure and two puppets of the sisters. On the right, you can see a rendering of that. I ask that you keep in mind that aesthetic of the exterior of the house because the engineering drawings won't show it nearly as beautifully. I'd also like to point out that although the puppets are perched on the lip of the planter, they will not be positioned there, as that would encourage a little too much public interaction. So the puppets will be moved and they will be peeking out of the interior of the house. Likewise, as we're looking at this image, I would also like to mention that those are live plants in the planter and they will remain in place throughout the exhibition period. So it really gives it this lush look of stumbling upon a cabin in the woods, which really plays into Swoon's fairy tale aesthetic. Next slide, please. Not quite as beautiful, or perhaps beautiful in its own way. We have the structural drawings. As you can see, this is a 13-foot 2-inch tall structure that will have a 12-foot by 9 inches. I'm sorry, 12 foot and 9 inches by 11 feet and 1-inch footprint. The materials that are being used are yellow pine, pine sheathing, and wood facing that will be adorned with the aesthetic materials, as I mentioned from the earlier slide. All the materials used will be fire resistant and coated with fire resistant material, and fire certifications will be delivered to the BPL and will be kept on file both there at the library and by the Triennial. Next slide, please. This is just a look at some of the flame retardant and flame resistant recommendations and materials that we have reviewed to ensure that we're in line with all of the Boston fire codes. Next slide, please. And this is the sculpture's footprint. You can see in Defari Hall, the intended approach or the main, it will right off the Boylston Street entrance. So as you enter, you'll see it straight ahead in that beautiful atrium for those of you who are familiar with the space. Next slide, please. Here you can see how the sculpture will sit on these 4 legs that will have will attach to a base, and so it will hover above the sculpture but still be structurally sound. Next slide, please. Here is an aerial view, and so you can see how the dimensions of the piece will interact with the planter below. Next slide, please. This is a look at the framing of the wall. It is being built literally like a little house. Next slide, please. And this is kind of an exploded view, so you can see how the elements will be attached. And how the feet will sit on oversized steel plates on all 4 corners. Next slide, please. To the left, you'll see the slatted approach that we'll be using for the roof. This is a reaction to conversations with our partner at BPL. The skylight above is an active skylight, and it provides all of the light for the live plants beneath. And so we wanted to make sure that they will still receive all of the light that they need to flourish while the piece is on display. And so the entire roof, to be clear, will be slatted like this one segment that you see called out on the left. Next slide, please. Some additional engineering studies of the planter. Next slide, please. Here we have our sites, the beginning of our site survey. So we will bring in a scissor lift. It'll come right in through the main entrance. And next slide, please. And it'll be brought into the atrium space. The blue footprint will be cordoned off so that the public cannot interact with that while we're doing install. The orange underneath the stairwell there is where the equipment will be stored while we're installing. We're anticipating 5 days of installation, and we're currently in conversations with the Boston Public Library to identify what will be the best hours for us to work, so we can be mindful of this important space that receives so much public use. Next slide, please. Here you see some close-ups of the puppets and their how beautiful and ornate and elaborate they are. As I mentioned, they will be placed inside the structure to discourage public interaction while they're on display. Next slide, please. In addition to the sculptural piece that I've talked about, there will also be ephemera from Sibilant Sisters on display in the display cases in the gallery behind Defari Hall, and there will be wheat paste posters that will be installed throughout the city. These are some mock-ups of those wheat paste posters. Next slide, please. We are well into fabrication with Swoon's piece. We have received our engineering sign-off, and the structure is being built in New York. It will ship from New York in late April, and then we will be installing the last week of April / first week of May. We will be returning to install the pieces in the display cases in the gallery of Defari Hall in June. And then the installation of the wheat paste posters that will be throughout the city is TBD, but that will be out throughout the triennial exhibition period. And I should mention that those posters are envisioned as, if we could go back to that slide, depicting the posters. So these are viewed as somewhat of a tarot card-like element, and they depict tools that help people throughout their journey. Literally in the story, they help their sisters to navigate the wilds of the woods, but they're also a metaphor for the tools that people use in order to overcome trauma or to get through addiction. And then if we could go to the maintenance plan slide, please. As with all of our projects, we'll have regular maintenance checks where we will provide the Boston Public Library with a contact tree so that they can inform us of any concerns that they have. We'll also be keeping a tight eye on the plant life. It's very important to the library that the plants are not adversely affected in any way. So we'll want to make sure that we're checking back to make sure that the plants are getting everything that they need throughout the exhibition period. Next slide, please. And then the accessibility consideration. This is on the main floor of the library, so it can be accessed without stair or elevator access. It's right through the main entrance, so it's easily accessible. BPL Central Library is very close to, as we know, to the Copley Green Line station and bus routes. And we'll have our traditional signage with the QR codes, the Braille, the audio description. Next slide, please. The mock-ups that we've seen. Next slide, please. Swoon's engagement is pretty robust. She is working with the Phoenix, who is an organization that works with people experiencing addiction. And as long as they are not in active addiction, they are invited to use the workout equipment and to exercise there for free. Swoon's also looking to host workshops and story sharing opportunities with the BPL, and is in conversation to align with existing BPL programming. And Swoon is going to be also hosting talks with, there's many experts in Boston who focus and address addiction through various lenses, and Swoon is looking to broker conversation between them to talk about the different methods that are used to combat this ailment. And with that, I can pause for questions for the final project.
I have one question, Leo.
Yes.
You addressed part of my question, which is it sounds like Swoon will engage with some maybe writing and reading projects in the library. That's great, and wondering if her book will be available. But secondly, this site is right next to the WGBH radio and television studio. Would she anticipate being able to interact there to get the word out about the project?
Very, very astute comments and questions. Yes, those are all things that are in discussion at the moment. We have yet to finalize it. And we do want to make sure that we're working with the Boston Public Library's programming and engagement team to make sure that everything's in alignment. But those are all ideas that we're exploring and conversations that are ongoing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Leo, I have a question, and I might be in error on this. When I saw the original image, it looked like the structure was in the gigantic planter, but when I saw the diagram, it looked like it was under the structure. Was I misseeing that?
You're not missing it. That, as with several of these projects, there's been some amount of iteration. So the original vision that Swoon has was for the house to sit inside of the planter and to use that as the structural support. After engineering reviews and site surveys, we deemed that there was no safe way to do that we couldn't guarantee would cause damage to this to the planter. And so we pivoted to this idea of having it float above the planter and be anchored to the ground itself.
Are there any other comments? Any members of the public? Well, hearing none, I'm curious if any commissioner would like to make a motion to approve final design of Sibilant Sisters.
I would like to make a motion to approve the final design of Sibilant Sisters.
Thanks, James. Second?
I'll second it.
Oh,
Thanks, Nigel. After I say your name, please say yes if you approve the motion. James?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Brian?
yes.
Nigel?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. So congratulations on all the projects approved today, including from Lauren earlier. Leo and Kate, I know still 2 months out, but best of luck to you as you make that final push to make this happen. And I know, in speaking for all of the commissioners, we're really excited to see all of the work that you bring to the city in May. So congratulations and thank you for bringing these projects to us today.
Thanks
John,
so much to all the commissioners. I'd also like to thank Karen, Birgit, Amber, and Paul for all of their consistent support and help with navigating these projects. So thank you all.
Thank you. I just want to underscore everything that Leo just said. Birgit, Paul, Amber, Emily Rose, Karen, John, yourself, the commissioners, Aaron. This is, as we're watching our country take shape right now, everything that you've given us in terms of really great feedback and the artists sort of, adding their 2 cents. This is democracy in action. And I thank you for this open platform. I thank you for your, your feedback, your continued trust in this. And I just want to make sure that you all feel welcome to come join us on for the opening day, which will be May 22nd. We'll have a ribbon cutting at 10 a.m. At Nicholas Gallinan's piece in Evansway Park. So thank you so much. And I think we'll see you maybe one more time before then.
Yes, I'll be back for a project by Beatrice Cortez, hopefully next month.
Thank you.
Kate, Leo, thank you so much. And now all I have to do is ask if we want to adjourn. So commissioners, would anyone like to make a move to adjourn?
I would really like to make a move to adjourn.
Thanks, James. I'll second that. After I say your name, commissioners, please say yes if you'd like to adjourn. James?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Nigel?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well, so the meeting's adjourned. Again, commissioners, thank you all for your flexibility in scheduling this meeting, and we will all gather again together next month, and I look forward to it. So thanks so much and have a good night, and thank you for all who attended.
Good night, y'all. Good night, thank you.